So, everybody, welcome to the show. It's not a show, it's just me being a person drawing things, talking about things I'm drawing, and sometimes being quiet and not talking while I'm drawing. But I've noticed something. So, today's live is Tutorial Tuesday, and I'm going to look at something I saw regarding my illustration skill that I find a little bit disconcerting, because even AI has figured out how to do it already. Those pesky ass hands. Like, seriously, hands. Oh God, okay. Anyway, let's look here. That's not a good hand. That's a attempt at just making something possible that works. And yeah, sure, the impression of a hand is there, the knuckles, the fingers, all of that, but that's not a good hand. That's not a really well constructed, proper, good hand. Let's look here. Okay, I'm kind of like really happy with this one. Its lines are like super sexy. The curves are really good. Okay, but still there is something a little bit lacking in it, as in it's sort of, I see those little sausage fingers over there. As elegant as they are, they're just a little bit too fat, and being able to add that delicacy in is also another thing. And I've got another huge issue with regards to hands, is that give the girls them redonkulous man hands. Oh wow. See, like, I mean, look here. Look. Even after I've adjusted the hand shape and size with the what is that tool? Oh grief, the liquify tool, right? I really pushed it in to try and make it just look slightly normal and proportional. They are certainly, well, I mean, she's a swordswoman, so maybe she should have beefy hands. But the fact is, they're indelicate, and that's something that I need to address, especially if I want to draw more feminine female characters, as the shape of the hands is a huge tell in terms of what a person does, right? It's part of the story. Look, a butt and no hands. The pinky's good. I really like this pinky. This is a living pinky, but it's also from a living reference. So the model pose was very expressive, and this was a little detail that you could see within the photograph that I used as the reference for the pose here. Okay, now here's the worst one of them all. I mean, look, if you look at the size of her mitten, paw, it's literally as big as her head, and yeah. Even her feet, it's a bit of my distortion that I put in naturally, and I've learned to put in. But if I want to do something that's going to be more appropriate to characters, I think I need to do a bit of hand practice. So today, that's exactly what we're going to do. I have prepared reference. No. I'm actually lying completely. Bold-faced liar. I've done zero preparation. I thought of this idea right on the spot. But then again, improvised ideas are not necessarily a terrible thing. So, we will do some fundamentals in our session today, in terms of just rendering and learning how to draw something in terms of the basic shapes that we'll need to understand before we can do a hand. So I'm going to do a quick run through of basic shapes. Oh, hold on. But if you haven't prepared a sheet of reference, do this. Open Pinterest on another device. I like keeping my screen clean. Hand references. Da 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 da. Hand references for drawing, basic, and plop. You have a gigantic set, an infinite number of hands and gestures and ways to look at what we're drawing right there at your fingertips. This is fantastic. Like, drawing is a skill, and I honestly think, if you think about the way people have considered that this new AI art, whatever the fuck it's called, AI fancy vending machine picture maker garbage. You can obviously tell that I'm a little biased against that one, right? The fact of the matter is there is no excuse, because drawing is not a talent. It's a fucking skill, man. It's a skill. You learn how to do it. There's no such thing as democratization. It's work. Dicks. Whew. That's my rant over. Okay. Probably not. I'm probably going to rant about it for the rest of my life because I think it's absolutely atrocious. However, I will now choose an image. Right. What size do I want it to be today? P3 canvas is tempting, but that's going to be reserved for a nice big old artwork. I think we will stick to our and we will mess with it. So today we will be doing a, sorry, but we're gonna go with black here, that one, that one, that one. We're going to be doing no. Yes. Wow. 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 Hands tutorial. But first, we have to do a couple of things. So, a hand is a collection of different objects that you can find everywhere, right? At this particular juncture, we need to understand that hands, okay, hands are cylinders. They are rectangles. But that's a rhomboid. No, that's a rectangle. And they all live and function within the world. Okay, this is a good little warm-up as well to do. Anyway, you don't have to be perfect. You just want to consider the fact that, in all honesty, a hand is a combination of all of these things. All right. So, what is the hand but a collection of bones? Okay, so the collection of bones that we're talking about here are the hand's skeletal bones. Right. Alright, so I'm going to go over. Alright. Hand. Hand skeletal anatomy. Come on. Skeleton. What? Fabulous. Okay. Right then. Here we go. The hand consists of a couple of different skeletal shapes, right? If we look at it carefully, the hand consists of a large rod, right? Open layers! Make a new layer! Hand consists of a large rod, at least two large rods, right, that are packed together and they form a large rod shape, if you think about it. Okay? These two bones are flat sliding joints against the wrist bone cluster. I don't know what it is called. I forgot what it is called. But there is then the ball of the joint here, right? So at this point, you don't have to draw all of those little bones, but you've got to remember that these bones are a ball. Well, actually, they're more like a hinge joint with a bit of flexibility and play. So it goes like this, but it also wiggles like that, right? So you'll see it moves up and down, forward and back, but it goes like that. Okay, so now, right, we shall make this the palm side of a hand. Okay, now palm side of the hand, you're going to have your pinky here at the bottom, your index at the top. So I think they're called phalanges or whatever. The bits inside your hand that are not your fingers, which are actually the start of your fingers, these longer bones, you should think of it as an arc that sharpens from towards the shorter. So it's an arc that does that in a way, right? So the two fingers here are going to be longer, then this one's shorter, and this one's a little bit shorter. They're not much different in their size and length, but that's what they are. Okay, so I'm going to draw those out. So once again, we've got cylinders again. These are not perfect cylinders. They're chicken bone shaped, well, finger bone shaped cylinders, but like chicken bones. So you'll have a bend in the way it's shaded. If you even want to shade it, you don't have to shade it. Okay, and we'll then keep going. Also, I am working from reference here, just for practical purposes. Guys, girls, people, get your references, you know. They make life so much easier. There's no magic to illustration. It's just the time and work that's involved. Oh dear, I don't like this orientation. I'm going to move it a little bit because now I'm all pinkies and no thumbs. So yeah, that's another very delightful part of how Procreate works is you can, oh no, wrong brush. Okay. Also, see, now it's changed because I just held it down. So it changes to match the brush. That's kind of cool. It doesn't quite match the brush. It's a bit small. Okay. Coffee. So, the differentiation in length of phalanges becomes more extreme as you move up a joint. Even the thumb joint is not much shorter. It's about that much. Oh dear. Okay, so I'd put the thumb joint here. So the thumb is funny because it's also a slidey, turny, bendy joint, like the wrist, which is kind of weird. That's why it's also surrounded by so much muscle. So the thumb has a partial rotation to it, but also a lever, a hinge, where it closes on the hand. So that's where the musculature is going to come in. Ooh, this is going to be so much fun. Yes, like it. Anatomy is fun for me. I think I've just figured out a cool way to teach and draw at the same time. Okay, so what we've got here now is this wonderful next set of phalanges. So from my reference, I notice that the middle centermost phalange is longer, right? Okay, so, and the length of the phalange is about half the length of the longer bit. God, I've got to get the names right. Sorry, dudes, like that's so unprofessional of me. Where is my vocabulary? So, that's what I think of that. Who cares what it's called? Just know how to draw it right. Come on. Because nobody does actually care what it's called. Well, some people really care because they're doctors and stuff. But you're an artist. The finger's fine. First joint, second joint, third joint. So you'd also consider that these ones are going to be half the length. Yeah, that works. It really does work. See, it even looks right, half the length. Yeah, well, not quite. This one would be about a third. So the thumb would be about a third. So the thumb is odd. It's a bit longer. Okay, right? And then there we go. So now the pinky bone, because this is shorter, this is going to be a little bit more obviously shorter. Pinkies, yo pinkies. Any pinkies in the house? All right, never mind. So, okay, and if I take a look at the next bit of the reference here, you will see that the next level of phalanges are about a third. So that length, you want kind of this length here to move up, right? Okay, there we go. So about a third the length there. So here, now, these joints, they're all purely hinge joints. There's a little bit of sort of flex around the actual knuckle part, right? Here, there's a little bit of flex here, but other than that, not by much. Okay. So, oh wow, if you look here, this is where, if you want to start creating weirdly shaped hands, is where you could start, because you could replace the tip with something different, like a claw or a talon or something like that, or like a yeah. So then the next piece, the last one, is basically following the same rule of proportion. So a third of that one, right? And all of a sudden, you have a really perfectly measured hand. So, gotta do the thummy thing. The thumb here obeys a third once more. Okay. So if you look at this very carefully, oh, these bones are too thick. See how thick thick the bones are. Stop drawing thick bones. I'm big boned, literally. No, no, I'm not. I'm fat. I'm actually, yeah. Well, a little. Anyway, enough of my insecurities. Let's work on other insecurities. My ability to draw hands. Okay, so yeah, just play with this a little bit because no. Okay. Nice big brush can give an effect of life and dimension very quickly. I'm not even going to bother because I don't need to. All right, so. But now you see what happens here is, if you wanted to, distort. The hand's still going to work no matter how you distort it. Well, probably. I don't know. I don't care. Anyway, we'll keep going. But here we go. So now we've got the bones done. And what we could do, we could go over it and try to understand how we can add a little bit of anatomy with the next layer to make what's going on. All right. Okay. Hand anatomy. All right. Okay, how does a hand work? Like, a hand's a really cool thing, but how does it actually work? Yeah? So, right. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So, we're gonna mess around with the hand. Now, let's move up a layer. Let's bring down its opacity. Let's mess with the color a little bit. So, we'll go with this. This is our color. And this is what we're going to do. The hand needs strings. The hand needs strings. Each hand has a tendon that controls it, right? And the hand itself is not just tendons. So the thumb also has a tendon that controls this bit, but it has a heap of fleshy muscles. There are also a heap of fleshy muscles here. If you look carefully, there are, and they roll in this way. Here, no. I'm gonna do this. Wait. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, yes. Okay, cool, good. Tendons. We see tendons. There are tendons all the way down these hands. There are tendons here. Okay. Now, the hand itself is comprised of wrappers. Right? So there are tendons that wrap all these bits together. Okay, but so here we are. We want to make the inside of this hand look like the inside of a hand. Okay. You need to recognize that their thumb is almost like a chicken drumstick, except a little more squat. See? If you draw the thumb almost like a chicken drumstick, right? You've got a thumb and it works. All right, so these bones, they're going to be tendons and flesh. And you want to push out just a little bit. And see, this is where that angle on a hand comes from. Now, the palm of a hand is a muscular structure, right?